introduce you to the new manager of Newcastle United. He's well known to you all, and he's well known to the people in the region. And we take great pleasure in introducing him to you now. And I'd like, if you would come through the doors, please. Kevin Keegan.
This is the moment when Special K walked back into football. It's the job he had to come back for.
I can honestly say that there's no job in football I've ever wanted. This is the only job I've ever wanted. I think we've got tremendous potential here, but potential's only any good if we realise it. I'm hopefully, in the next few weeks, I'm not going to make a lot of statements today that you're going to throw back at me over the current year, 2 years, 3 years, hopefully 20 years. But what I am going to say is we will turn this club around. This club will go back where it belongs.
Fighting words from the new manager of the club lying at the foot of the second division and going nowhere after Saturday's humiliating defeat at Oxford. But now the famous number 7 is ready for a new challenge.
I sat down with my wife yesterday, and I mean, I think she's as shocked as anyone. I've probably learned to live without football. Having played it and seen all the problems, I realised probably the easiest part of football is playing it, because you go home after training and, you know, you don't really take too many problems back with you. And so management, which is the total opposite, you've got to take them all home with you, is a different thing. But, you know, the time was right. It's the only job I would have ever even contemplated. If you're asking me, if you tell me you're surprised, then I'm not. It doesn't surprise me, I'm surprised.
Keegan didn't waste any time in getting to know his squad of players. He was well wrapped up for the training session behind closed doors at Benwell this afternoon. Now he's determined to look forward and not back.
Every manager in the country, when they see my appointment here today, will be envious. Because every manager in the country who's worth his salt would want to manage a club like this. You want to be able to put a team out in front of fans like this. Let's look at the positive things. You know, you mustn't look at the negative things in life. I never have. Let's look forward. There's so many pluses about this place. I just hope, along with everybody else, we're all rowing the boat the same way, that we can turn that potential into success.
When Kevin Keegan departed in triumph, no player ever enjoyed a more spectacular send-off. It brought to an end 2 of the most exciting seasons in Newcastle's history. "We're in heaven, we've got Kevin," was the famous quote when manager Arthur Cox and chairman Stan Seymour masterminded their pre-season coup. It stunned the football world, but Tyneside exploded. Special K's debut set the tone. He scored, of course. Keegan was always the grafting superstar. Neither prima donna nor poser, he believed in the work ethic. Sponsors Newcastle Breweries helped bring him to United, and he justified his reputation as a man who delivered the goods on and off the pitch. Even so, it took him 2 seasons to achieve his objective, restoring Newcastle to the First Division. But hardly single-handed, he was surrounded by some glorious talent. Keegan's commitment to Newcastle was absolute and unrelenting. But like the true professional he always was, once he decided to retire, there was no sentimental hanging around. He came back in April 1989 for Kenny Wharton's testimonial. The club was on the slide. Keegan's warning, prophetic.
Great players don't come along very often. Been very privileged here. They've had 4 or 5 in the last 5 years, but they've sold them all. You've got a nice stand, but this won't look very good in the 3rd Division, will it?
It was at the launch of Newcastle's centenary history in November that Keegan's name was once again linked with the club. He reminded everyone, including the board, of his unrivalled talents as a PR man. But Ardiles was thought to be deeply disturbed at suggestions of Keegan taking an active role at the club, but he can hardly have imagined that day he was listening to his successor.
Ossie Ardilles' home in Jesmond was surrounded this afternoon, but he wasn't under siege. The former World Cup star had invited us into his front room to explain his departure. He was in a state of shock, but refused to criticise the club.
I don't feel any bitterness at all. I love Newcastle, love the place, love everything. Newcastle was beautiful. Everything connected with Newcastle. St. James Park, beautiful. Everything was really, really nice. I just wish that Newcastle can go places.
Everyone thought Ardiles would transform the club into one of the best in the country, if not Europe, with his stylish tactics. He took over on April Fool's Day 10 months ago, but he's only won 8 out of 42 games since then. So did he need more time?
Obviously I am disappointed, I am sad right now. At the moment, to be perfectly honest. I believe that basically, yes, I needed more time.
Have you been able to talk to the players?
Yes, I went to, because we had training today at 11 o'clock at Durham. So I went to say bye-bye to the boys and obviously thank them for all the help they given me. They always give me 100% support. So I thank them and wish them all the best.
Ossie has always been a tracksuit manager, so what does the future hold for him now?
Where do you go from here? At the moment I'm going to take a holiday and collect my thoughts and think what I'm going to do next.
A bittersweet day for Sir John Hall. He's pulled off a real scoop, but at the same time hit the classic chairman's own goal. As the results worsened, Sir John has repeatedly insisted he's 1,000% behind Ossie Ardilles. Even after the Oxford humiliation, Sir John's son Douglas repeated that dreaded vote of confidence. Ossie, safe as houses. But Oxford United had seen off Ardiles just as they'd sounded the death knell for Dennis Smith at Sunderland. So what happened to the chairman's belief in his manager?
That didn't change until basically we started to run the figures through the computers and people were asking if we get on the third, how will it look? And, you know, we're talking about many millions of pounds to save this club. It has to come from a lot of people and we have to get the backing of whole groups and everyone came concerned about going to third division. It's the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life, in my business life. And I have very, very mixed emotions, but I have to get on with the job and move forward now.